since we talked on Sunday, what's the approach this week? And I know you guys want to stay fresh, but it's also tournament time and win or go home. So how are you treating this week?
Yeah, we got 2 days off, which was nice. Took Sunday and Monday off. Didn't do anything on the court, and I think we needed that. With the first game this week being Saturday, it gives you a little bit more time than we typically have during a normal GLIAC week. So it's not maybe quite as much of a rush in some ways, which is for our team right now really good. I remember last year being really antsy, like we gotta go. Like I can't wait to get it on the court. I wish these games were earlier. This time around, I'm happy we have a few days just to give our guys' bodies a chance to rest up. I don't think they're going to heal, but at least they can get some ice baths in and try to work on some cardio stuff because we look pretty gassed out there last weekend. And then, we'll start going over some stuff today, really practice hard on Wednesday, and try to gear up on, Friday we practice at Indy, so that's a big one, so we can be on the court and get some familiarity there. So, not a typical week, but in some ways, the practice stuff will be pretty normal, just maybe a little bit longer and lighter than a typical conference week.
What's the feeling for you guys going up against Ferris State, who you've beaten twice, both battles? Different than what the draw you had last year, right?
Yeah.
Going up against a team you're very familiar with. So how are you treating it in that aspect?
Yeah, it's very different. And the thing with these conference matchups that I think is true of Division II basketball, Division III basketball, it's probably true of high school, and it's certainly true of the Big Ten or the Big East. It's not just that we've played Ferris twice. I mean, we've played Ferris a lot, like 13 times. I mean, it seems like every time we've played Ferris since I've gotten here, the game has felt very similar. A Northern Ferris matchup with different players has always kind of had that same vibe and same feel to it. So, I think we both know going into it what to expect in a lot of ways. I think in some ways that they're obviously really well coached. I mean, he's been by far the best coach in the league, and we have a ton of respect for him. But at the same time, it's going to come down to the players. We know what they're doing. They know what we're doing. We know everything about their players. They know everything about our players. And it's going to just come down to who steps up and who makes plays. And so my major job this week, make sure we're healthy, make sure we're fresh, and maybe come up with 2 or 3 little things that could help steal a basket or help prevent one of their baskets. But it's definitely a different feel than, say, preparing for a team from the GMAC or GLVC, who it would be so much about trying to learn that team and figure out what makes that team tick and figure out what we're going to do to try to take advantage of them having never seen us before. This is not that. So in some ways, I think it's easier from a time standpoint, but it's a lot more difficult from a standpoint of I don't think I can come up with too much that is going to shock them or surprise them at this point. And honestly, I don't, and I think everyone agrees with this in the entire country. All 64 teams that got in, 64 coaches would tell you this. It is a shame that we're the only tournament that you can play a team in the first round that you played in the regular season. It can't happen in Division III, can't happen in Division I, can't happen in NAI, can't happen in any level of junior college. It is unique to one level, which is NCAA Division II, and I know that's the number one frustration with Division II coaches about the tournament. Everyone's aware of it. There's talks to try to change it, try to update it, but as long as you stick with a pure 8-team regional format, it's pretty difficult. And I don't think there's a perfect answer. But it would sure be nice if for everyone's sake, we could at least avoid those matchups in the first round.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, in terms of all your players outside of Riley, I guess, having this tournament experience now, you think that's going to bode well, or how are these guys treating it? Say Max, Dylan, that were around last year, the second time around that they're doing it again.
Yeah, it's it definitely. If you add in that it's at Indianapolis again, because I think that's the other part of this is it's so Indy made it last year and obviously hosted last year, hosted this year, so they have that. Ferris and us are the other 2 of the 8 that made it both seasons. So it doesn't necessarily give us any advantage in the first game in the sense of the team we're playing also has all the same advantages because most of their team's back as well.
Right.
But, we're doing the conference call yesterday, and I remember a year ago, I think I had like 3 pages of notes, like where are we stretching? What are the locker room setups? This time I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good. Like, I know exactly what they're talking about. When they say, hey, you can stretch on that auxiliary gym, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. That's where we were last year. Oh, we're in this locker room this time, not that locker room. But there's such a level of comfort to the setup, and it's virtually unchanged year in, year out, which I think the NCAA does a great job of that, keeping things consistent. So, everyone gets equal. And on top of that, we're the 5 seed last year, we're the 4 seed this year. Our game time remains the same game time. Our practice time is the same slot. Our shoot-around time's the same slot. So there's just a lot of things that go into making it feel very comfortable, and I think that's got to be a huge positive because that's a whole set of things that we don't have to over worry about and can focus on the basketball part of that. Because to me, and this is what I didn't think we did a great job of last weekend, the key with all this stuff is just doing what you do in a very solid way. I don't think A-plus effort or A-plus play is required to win in the tournament. You just need to be consistently C+, B-, and that's usually good enough because most teams are going to be going A+F, A+F, possession by possession, and that was us last weekend, and we got to just maintain base hits, steady Eddie, and just keep going because that's what wins this time of year.
How do you do that?
Yeah, it's the $1 million question. I think I really think it's happened to us twice now since I've been here, where I really felt like we didn't maintain that steadiness. The Grand Valley home game, and then last year the second round of the tournament. So we've had a few times lately where we haven't maybe done it. I think like Max Bjorklund was so easy because he was always steady, so that one came very natural to him. That was just who he was. Shockingly, it turns out I like players that have a little bit of emotion and can be a little high and low because that is more me. And so we have an emotional head coach and a bunch of emotional players, and we need to stay steady. And I think what I can do is, because I'm not that steady person every day, I try to stay extra calm in these games. And to be honest, I was fairly calm during the Grand Valley game. I was fine. But our guys are now also very emotional, and I think they need to use that as a learning experience that Sam Schultz gets his first career dunk, the place is erupting, the crowd then causes them to take a terrible shot, they miss, Max comes down in transition, makes the basket, all of a sudden we're up 1, we have it.
Yeah.
Well, our guys went nuts with energy and excitement and emotion, and that was the time where they needed to go, okay, all right, what's the next play? What are we doing on the next thing? And that's maybe not what you want game 2 of the season. That's maybe not what you want in the conference opener when you're picked first in the league and you're playing the team that was picked, whatever in the league. Maybe you want that emotional floodgates to open up so they feel what you have. Ferris doesn't care. Yeah. It's not going to bother them. So we got to be able to ride that. Like we're not going to intimidate anyone at this level. Like we just need to stay steady, stay normal, and make the next simple play well. And again, we've done it well in the past, and I'm hoping that Saturday was a great learning experience for us. And watching the game Sunday, I thought the same thing happened. I thought Grand Valley, once they got up on Ferris, you could see they felt it. They're like, we're going to do this. We're going to go to the NCAA tournament. And as soon as you start feeling like that, it collapses. And we got to stay one possession at a time and just hitting base hits.
Right. Last thing, just with Max's injury, and obviously he's going to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
He's been fighting through it. How big is Dylan on both ends of the floor this weekend?
Yeah. I mean, Max is obviously the best player in the conference, quite clearly, and I think he's the best player in the region. Him and the Upper Iowa kid. The Upper Iowa kid's pretty good. But he's right there. And he's going to be great even if he's on one leg. I think the thing that Max provides to us that there's probably 10 to 15 players in the country that can do this is he fixes every bad moment. So things are going bad and he fixes it. It's not that he scores every time because that's not his game,
Right.
but he will make sure Northern Michigan gets a perfect shot. He'll get the ball, he'll get a ball screen, he'll get to a perfect spot, and he's going to throw it to someone for a wide open shot or he's going to score. And when he gets tired because he's hurt and he's tired because he hasn't played, we need someone else to be able to, in some of those moments, get us a great shot. And I think Dylan, Brian can do it to a degree. Dylan can do it. But we got to maybe figure out when those moments are, when he's a little too tired to do it. He's probably got to be a decoy at some times throughout it. And then I think what we had against Purdue was we had, Dylan was kind of the baby blanket where we could just go, okay, Dylan's going to get us a great look. Yeah. We had that the whole first semester when Max was not healthy still, and right. He wasn't that guy the first semester. If we can get Dylan where he is that pressure release valve for our whole team, now we have two of them. If you have two of them, you probably are one of the only teams that have two guys that can just completely by themselves take a possession over and say, we're good. And I think we got to get back to doing some of the things with Dylan that we did the first semester. And at this point of the year, it isn't about getting back. It's just we got to win. And I trust Dylan to do that, and we're going to go down with our guys. I mean, that's the best part about this group. We know who our guys are. We know who our best players are. We know who our guys we can count on are. And we're going to win or lose with those guys making or not making those plays. Honestly, there's no one I trust more than the guys we have. And so it's, in a way, there's a little freedom to that. They know it. We know it. Our whole team knows it. There's not a lot of guessing. Those are our dudes, and we're gonna win or lose going down with them.